I was sent this post and I did a dramatical sigh. Like I gasped at the nerve and the audacity of people because they simply have way too much of it. So it's an Am I the A-hole post from a woman, and she's simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions because literally she's not the a-hole. She says, Am I the a-hole for not cooking and cleaning for my father-in-law? Let's get into the post. She says, My father-in-law has never cooked, cleaned, or done anything for himself. When his wife, who he married as a teen, died, he became helpless. It has been 6 months, and my other two sisters-in-law, make him every meal and bring it to him. My husband and his father have a rocky relationship due to many things, but they were never close, so I was never close to Paul. My sister in law and his older daughter, Lizzie, have asked me to help with meal prep for her father because it has added stress to everyone. He has become ungrateful and complains about the food they offer or not helping him clean his house often enough. The situation has stressed my husband, who called his father pathetic for yelling at him for not having us help out more. Lizzie called me again, saying she is going on vacation and desperately needs me to help with the meal train for her father while she is gone. I told her to buy him a cookbook and show him how to turn on the stove. Lizzie called me a B word, saying Paul is a traditionalist and has never cooked for himself. I told Lizzie this would be an excellent time for Paul to learn to be a big boy. My husband took the phone from my hand and hung up on his sister. Lizzie took to Facebook. Another family member showed me this and complained about how awful some people treated their elders. She enlisted a church group to make Paul dinners and help him clean while Lizzie and her family vacation. My husband and I think his father is ridiculous. Besides being in his 70s, Paul is not disabled in any way. Y'all can see my name right here, BurbNBougie. I am on Reddit. I am fairly active. I get tagged a lot, and I have a subreddit by the same name. This was sent to me a couple of times, but this man belongs in the old man mojo dojo casa house. And younger men need to know and recognize that some women are opting out of this unpaid labor. We are not accepting that we are simply servants because men have a peen and women have a uterus. We're not simply servants because of that. And these men are going to have to learn how to hold their own nuts. They're going to have to learn how to hold their own nuts because women are just opting out of doing this. The mom to wife pipeline is drying up. This man hasn't expired yet, but the men who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, y'all better learn how to hold your own nuts because women are saying, get someone else to do it, or you need to pay for it yourself. It is not somebody else's responsibility to do these activities for daily living. And if you cannot do these activities for daily living, maybe you should no longer be living. I created these cute little pictures, like making these happy gestures of men holding their own nuts, because these men need to learn how to be fully functional adults and fully functional humans that could live on their own and survive and thrive without the help of a woman, because women are opting out of being men's servant. Let me take myself out of this picture. Ladies, if you have boy children, you need to encourage them to learn how to cook and clean. And I know I said ladies because obviously the caretaking, the nurturing typically falls on the mother, but we're going to have to put out a group of adult males that know how to cook and clean for themselves, that understand that women are opting out of this. We're going to have to do some of the foundational lifting for our boy children. I'm not saying do this for any men. Let these men perish where they stand. But the boys, we can still save the boys and send out productive humans into the world. Encourage them. Let's make it a slogan. Hold your own nuts. It is perfectly fine to hold your own nuts. Look how happy and joyful these boys look, holding nuts. I know I'm wild for this one. I know I'm wild. It's raining nuts. Hallelujah, it's raining nuts. Look how happy these boys are. They got boys wearing suits. They got boys that are farmers. They got boys that are delivery people and working at the grocery stores. Look how happy they are to hold some nuts. Look at this boy right here. This black boy. Well, actually both of these black boys. They are just so ecstatic that they get to hold their own nuts. We need this joy simply just in life overall, over boys becoming men who are able to hold their own nuts. I know I prolonged that probably a little bit more than I should have, and I don't care because I want to make sure that message is seen and is very loud and clear because the mom to wife pipeline is drying up. So these men and boys need to be able to survive regardless of if a woman has mercy on them and brings them some food. If they are hungry and they cannot go to the kitchen and make something, or they don't have the capacity to download an app, maybe their time with oxygen in this earth is, maybe it's over. Anyway, some of the comments. Not the a-hole. I have a similar father-in-law. I don't live in the same town as him, but I get to hear all about the coercion he's tried on the one daughter who does. Sky high expectations about her cleaning and cooking for him, zero gratitude. He used to treat my mother in law terribly too, but still uses her passing for pity points. Similar to you, my father in law also enlists other family members in his efforty, so they're desperately trying to solve all his problems while he sits back. No doubt your father in law will put on just enough of a frail old dude to act a fool to the church group. I'm sorry, to fool the church group. Some people are just 100% rotten and learn nothing as they get older. Good for you and your husband for not buying into this. The OP says, my mother in law still cooked and cleaned while dying of cancer. That is why my husband and I really don't care for him. Paul is extremely verbally abusive to everyone. Therefore, he deserves to be able to figure this out on his own. All right, y'all, jump into the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And don't forget to spread the gospel of holding your own nuts. I know I'm wild for that. I know. All right, but thanks for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, just go ahead and hit the follow button. These lawmakers in countries and these politicians are hand wringing over the fact that the birth rate is plummeting. But birth rates and marriage rates will continue to plummet as long as men behave like some of these husbands and fathers are behaving. And since women are actually telling their stories in the public square and we're having these discussions, is only going to solidify that many people do not deserve to be married. Many people deserve to be in the old man mojo dojo casa house, isolated from normal women, because we women deserve so much better than this. This was posted in the True Off My Chest subreddit. She says, my now ex-husband told me I could have looked better on our wedding day, and I am happy that this title actually includes the word ex-husband. Amen. That's all we needed to know. He said that she could have looked better on her wedding day. And to that, he was trying to pull her self-esteem down immediately. And I'm glad that she is no longer in that relationship. She says, I just signed my divorce papers after a year from our ceremony and my husband leaving me. I had a death in my family and he moved out because he thought I was being too emotional about it, since it wasn't a parent. I have a very, very small family, so losing someone close to me was difficult. Anyways, after our wedding day, he told me I could have looked better, and I just gave up. I'm not overweight by any means, but I also met him at 22, and we got married at 30. And I understand I don't look the same. I'm just posting here because it hurts my heart whenever I see, one, my own wedding photos, and two, other brides. I'm completely happy for others, and I hope they are as well. But that same phrase daily plays through my head. You could have looked better. It just really hurts. I feel like if I was 10 pounds lighter or even 20, he wouldn't have said that, but I don't know. I'm just posting here because I'm in a lot of pain from this situation and can never see myself getting married again because I would never want to put on another wedding dress. That man's comments did exactly what they were intended to do. They lowered her confidence. It was a hit to her esteem. It was a hit because that's literally the day that some women feel the most beautiful. They get dolled up, they put on this dress, and they feel like a princess for a day. And then to have someone say that to you is totally hurtful. And like I said in the beginning, before I started this is one of the reasons why the marriage rate will continue to plummet, because now this woman is going to stay away from wedding dresses. And the thing is, honestly, you don't even have to have a wedding dress to get married. You can just put on a dress and go down to the courthouse. All of the pomp and circumstance is just extra. But I highly doubt that she would want to go through that, because now she's going to be averse. Period. She is averse, not going to be. And now she is sharing this, and people are going to see this and be like, I never want to go through that again, or I never want to go through that. But also, we women need to know and understand that these comments have a purpose. They are to bring your self esteem down so far that you won't have the self confidence to walk away, because you will now think nobody will ever want me. And I don't know why that tactic is used, why men want women that have zero self esteem, why that is the purpose, but that seems like what they intend to do with women. They want them so beat down that they never leave. But that is a person that is a shell of themselves. All right, so that's my commentary. Let's get into some of these other comments. Bright Ad says he just wants control. The goal is to lower your self-esteem so you rely on him. I'm sorry, but he's an ass. He doesn't see other people as humans, just assets. Are his other opinions objectively true? No, then ignore this one. And then the OP says, the assets comment is so true, and I never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right. He thinks the world revolves around him. He treated me so awful, but saying that on the day I was supposed to feel so beautiful absolutely broke me. And then Dear Abby says, don't allow it. Take your power back. Do not let this one man, who is a heartless bastard, who even says something like that, break you down. He does not get access anymore to your inner peace. All sorts of people who live in all sorts of bodies get love and give love and receive love. Love is never ever dependent on how you look. It's about how you act and treat someone. Every time that cruel statement pops up in your mind, challenge it, shut it down, plug your ears and say, la, 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 he's a jerk. I don't care what you do, but do not let his meanness take root and grow. The OP says, thank you, you're so right. It's just so difficult to ignore that, but I'm honestly going to do my best to know it's not real. Everyone who I've told was like, who would ever say that? Like, everyone is baffled. And I would be too if it was my friend or loved one. But when it's yourself, sometimes you just accept it and think they're right. I don't know. Thank you so much for your response. Though you're very sweet, I'm definitely going to change my attitude towards his toxicity. This is one of the reasons why I talk about the importance of placing very little value on their validation, because their validation, their compliments, um, it's like currency to some people to prop you up. But you have got to learn how to have that inner working, that inner confidence that isn't impacted by someone else's opinions, where you're not panting and constantly desperate for someone's head pats and trying to get their approval. You have got to push away from that narrative that you need someone else's approval to feel good about yourself. All right, y'all. Y'all jump in the comments and let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So now we have an Am I the A-hole thread from a woman. And what I always say about these Am I the A-hole threads from women is they're simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions. Now, what this woman also did is she did not provide me any paragraph breaks, but I still want to do this one. She says, am I the a-hole for refusing to adopt another child and possibly divorcing my husband over it? From the title, absolutely not. But let's look at the post. She's 33. She says, I, 33-year-old woman, met my husband during university. A mutual friend set us up and we hit it off instantly. My husband made it immediately clear that he wanted to foster and adopt children in the future, and that if I wasn't okay with it, I would be gone. For context, my husband was adopted when he was 7 and wanted to do the same for others. I also made it clear that I wanted biological children as well, which he was okay with. We ended up married after 2 years of dating. We both completed our degrees. We currently have 2 daughters, Rosie, who's 5, that's the bio daughter, and Julia, who's 7, was adopted. We started fostering when my bio daughter was a newborn and adopted Julia around a year ago. Since then, we stopped fostering and chose to focus on our family. However, I've noticed my husband clearly favors Julia over Rosie. He takes her out for bonding time, but either leaves my daughter or drops her off somewhere else. He doesn't tuck Rosie into bed anymore. He doesn't make an effort to go to her events. And he practically ignores her when she's at home, unless it's to do something for him like chores. I brought this up constantly to him, and I'm at my breaking point. Rosie and Julia are both smart, beautiful, joyous girls. Rosie is in ballet and gymnastics, highly advanced for her grade level, but has a hard time making friends. Julia has started cheerleading, makes a lot of friends, but is struggling a bit in school, which my husband sees as an excuse to not pay attention to Rosie. I'm currently 3 months pregnant with our third child, and my husband's reaction to finding out was, when can we start fostering again? 2 weeks ago, my daughter asked me, why doesn't daddy love me anymore? And that was when I knew the problem wouldn't be fixed unless I made a drastic move. I contacted a divorce lawyer, and he said nearly everything would be in my favor. We have a prenuptial agreement that allows us to keep nearly everything separate. The house is in my name. We have 2 separate bank accounts and one joint account, which we would split. I would not be required to pay alimony and keep one of our cars. Considering I make a substantial amount more than my husband, 250K a year, while he makes around 55K, I would be able to continue our lifestyle while he wouldn't. It would also likely prevent him from adopting more children in the future. The situation is ideal for me, besides paying child support, assuming my husband would even be able to support our kids with 50-50 custody. I have no intention of keeping our daughters from him. After speaking with my lawyer, I gave my husband an ultimatum: treat both our children equal, or I would be filing for divorce. He was enraged after this, screaming about how I'm a B word for trying to ruin his life goals, and saying how I don't understand what it's like for children who experience the foster care system. That our daughter Rosie was selfish and she needed to understand why Julia needed more attention than she did. My girls ended up waking up from the noise and came downstairs crying. At this point, I was both trying to calm my husband down and comfort my girls at once. Finally, my husband stopped yelling and I could put the girls back to bed. But I have to admit, I've started to resent Julia. I know very well it's not her fault, and I don't let that affect how I treat my girls. But sometimes I find myself lying awake at night, wondering how it would be if we just didn't have her. I always imagine myself with a toddler and our last one on the way, my husband loving all our kids, being so kind the way he used to. Again, I do not blame Julia whatsoever, and I'm very ashamed of these thoughts. However, I'm afraid if something happens again, I'll snap, and I don't want to shout at my daughters or husband. I have both girls in therapy already. Julia needs it because of her past, and we had Rosie go when we started fostering. Any advice is appreciated, as well as criticism. I'm also willing to answer any questions. So, am I the a hole? Also, these are fake names for my daughter's privacy, as well as a throwaway account. You are absolutely not an a hole. You're absolutely not an a hole. And I highly doubt that you would even have these thoughts running through your head about your adopted daughter had your husband just continued to treat the girls the exact same way. He should have been treating them the same. That is honestly unfair to have a favorite and show clear favoritism to one child over the other. So you are not wrong in doing that. You are not wrong in protecting your children. You're not wrong for saying that we're going to treat them well or I'm going to leave. So you're doing what you have to do to protect those girls. DNC, our mom says, so Julia needs more love and attention because she was abandoned by her parents. The same thing your husband is doing to Rosie. He needs to be in therapy, not the a-hole. And then Hetty Harlow says, excellent point. I hope the OP tells him this. This person, Mysterious Shark, says, it's a brilliant question to ask, but will he find some excuse? I bet. I'm sorry, but he will find some excuse, I bet. It's so much worse that he is abandoning her while still actively in her life. I'm just some random internet stranger, yet Rosie's question about him not loving her anymore was still heartbreaking. To that, Hetty Harlow says, yep, the abandonment and confusion Rosie must feel is heartbreaking. The stress in her nervous system must be full on for her. And Vanilla Ninja says, and then dad goes and calls her selfish for it because children need constant reassuring and support. That's just what happens when you're a child. Affectionate Drink says, that broke me. My eyes literally popped out. Like, how are you allowed to adopt and foster if you're saying things like that about your 5-year-old? This person, Smirk says, for the number of hoops the system makes adopted parents jump through, it still manages to fail to check to see if the parents are even emotionally capable of being good parents. Corvair Fanatic says, and as children, we always blame ourselves, so the gravity of it is just compounded. Absolutely. Cabinet OK says, when my ex-wife and I divorced, we tried to make it very clear that it was about us and not their fault in any way. We literally said that to them. Years later, I've had some small conversations around the topic, and I think they want to know why I left. Their mom cheated while I was away working. Okay, so that is the end of that one. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Do you think that she's the a-hole? I obviously do not think that she's the a-hole. She just wants to protect the girls, in my opinion. Y'all jump in. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Here is another candidate for residency at the Old Man Mojo Dojo Casa House. This is an Am I the A-hole thread from a man. He says, my daughter just contacted me after 17 years asking if I want to meet my granddaughter. Am I the a-hole for telling her that I don't care about her or her daughter and to never contact me again? Honestly, that should have been enough right there. He should never have had access to his child again, his daughter again, or that grandchild. The door should have been slammed shut. But let's get into the post. He says, I'm not sure if I am an a-hole. Going to provide some background. I'm in my 60s now. I was married to my ex-wife and we had a daughter. Our marriage was going through its ups and downs, but I was really close with our daughter. But as our marriage was going through its difficulties, I made a huge mistake I still regret to this day. I started having an affair with my coworker. I want to stop right there and say that an affair is not a mistake. An affair is a series of decisions and a series of lies over and over and over. You have to consistently make these decisions to break your vows and be a liar and untrustworthy to have an affair. It's not simply a mistake. A mistake is accidentally grabbing salt when you meant to grab sugar. That is a mistake. And an ongoing amount of decisions where you are lying over and over, that is a creation of your character. All right, let's continue. She was in a physically violent, abusive relationship at home. We became friends at work and things just escalated from there. She got an out from me. She got the support she needed to file for divorce from her husband, who is currently in jail now. The affair went nowhere and we called it off shortly after. But I was glad that she got off her abusive relationship and that she was safe. But when my ex-wife found out about the affair, things expectedly didn't go well. She lashed out and said a lot of horrible things about me to our daughter, who was 15 at the time. I admitted full fault with the affair, but even after the divorce, I sensed that the distance between me and my daughter was growing. Until one day, my daughter said she wasn't going to speak with me anymore. She was going to cut me off from her life forever. That was the most painful thing anyone had ever said to me. I begged her to please reconsider. I still remember that day. But time passed on. My daughter has kept her word, and after trying to connect with her for the first year, I gave up. I found out from one of my mutual friends that my ex-wife married a great guy. I was happy because I was hoping that would remove the hatred from my ex-wife, and my ex-wife would advise our daughter to at least rekindle a relationship with me. But that never happened. I moved states a year later. The thing is, you are a liar. And even if your ex-wife decided to say you should talk to your dad, that 15-year-old understood and knew that you were a liar that chose another woman over your family. So that was not up to the wife to try to massage the thoughts and beliefs of your daughter. He says, I am at peace now, but I still have some aching sadness. I have retired. Both of my parents have passed away. My brother passed away tragically a couple of years ago. To be honest, I'm waiting for my turn. I have only my dog and my sister left. See, I told you, he deserves to be in the old man mojo dojo casa house. He deserves to be isolated from everybody. And I think this across the board about people who have blown up their families. Sorry, I'm consistent. He says, a couple of hours ago, my daughter called me on my phone. I haven't spoken to her in 17 years. I instantly recognized her voice, but I didn't feel anything. No happiness, no sadness, just indifference. She was crying a lot on the call, and we caught up on life. She's married and she has a daughter now who's 12. She apologized for cutting off contact, and she says her mom asked her to reconnect with me as her mom felt guilty about how everything played out. She said she really wanted me to meet her daughter, and her daughter was constantly asking about granddaddy, but I wasn't feeling anything. After we caught up on everything in our life, I told her I don't care about her or her daughter and to never contact me again. I then hung up. Was I the a hole? I'm, you know, that's all somebody has to say to me is, I don't want to talk to you ever again. And me, I'm like, cool, I bet. But some people still would try, and that baffles me to my spirit, to my through my bones, through all my skin and my pores and everything. That just bothers me. Like, leave these people alone that don't want to be around you. But he says, update. Look, I was extremely drunk last night. The words which came out of my mouth weren't the best, and my comments on the post weren't great either. Seeing how everyone said I was the a hole, I decided to call my daughter an hour ago. I didn't really expect her to pick up the call, but she picked up immediately. I apologized for last night, and she said there was no need to apologize. I then sent her a link to this Reddit post on messages and told her I know I was the a hole and thousands said so. She again said I wasn't the a hole. She started crying again. Okay, I at this point, this has to be a work of fiction. This has to be a lie. But regardless, everything I said up until this point, talking about affairs and cheating and being a liar, and cheaters deserve to be in the old man mojo dojo casa house and be isolated. I believe that sincerely from my heart. And I'm glad that I was able to get that out. But I highly doubt that someone who hadn't talked to you for 17 years and then all of a sudden wanted to reconnect would be like, you're not the a hole. No, no, no. You are absolutely the a hole. I told her she's free to come to my house anytime the next 4 months because after that, I will be leaving the country with my sister and our dog. Our parents left us a nice farmhouse in their home country, and we will be spending the rest of our lives there. I sent her my address on messages, and my daughter says she'd come with her husband and her daughter by the end of next week. She asked if she was welcome to stay for multiple days, and I told her she could stay for however long she wanted, as long as our house was spacious enough. So so there's that. I'm not going to get into a lot of these comments because, like he said before, most of the people agreed that he was the a hole. From the title alone, he was the a hole, but I still continue to read this. I was sent this a few different times. But, regardless of if this is real or if this is some weird work of fiction, the talking about affairs and how it impacts people and how it blows up families that happens. That's reality. But he is totally the a-hole. This was an easy one to answer that question to. That's what Ty Nugget says. This is one of the most obvious you're the a-hole posts I've seen here. Good effing Lord. This person says he's an a-hole, but he's also an idiot. And the person at the bottom says I read this and thought, oh, he's stupid, stupid. Yep. He's stupid, stupid. All right, I'm going to leave this at that. Y'all go ahead, jump into the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.